Alright, hello. It is me and Mason here to cast the delayed New York Nutbusters versus Metabusters game, otherwise known as the Buster Battle, Buster Brawl. Y'all fucking figure it out. I don't know. One of these two things is a good name for it, and the other one fucking sucks. Could be either. Who knows? Anyway, should be a bit of a blast. I believe I know who won these games, but at the moment I don't particularly remember. So it's like we're casting it blind. I do
True,
believe
true,
Mason
true.
was actually here for
I
the
do remember
original
who
game.
won. Yeah.
He attempted to cast it with Healy, but they were kind of Canada gapped. They're bad.
True.
Shouldn't have lived in that country. It's a bit unfortunate, but
True.
shit happens. Can't really blame anyone in particular. I did not realize that that would cause any problems with Twitch, so I'm gonna just dodge all accountability here, and just kind of call it a wash. And I think we should just be glad that we're able to get this out on stream regardless. And I believe we have the Scrim podcast coming soon tonight. I am
Scrim
going to look at the
podcast. Woo!
true state of scrims. Big deal. We are looking at the first key player here. We have Metabusters Hidiri. Hold on if I'm not trolling. Okay, I am trolling.
That was Blake, bro.
Okay, well, it keeps walking through it, but the key matchup is Silico versus PB. Silico's only played support twice, and these are going to be from these games, so let's not read in too
Not the
much
best
to it.
support, bro. Oh.
Silico's never played support before these games, so we'll see how it goes. Diri has played some Hecarim, Maokai, Kasante, Lulu, Tarek, has a bit over 50% win rate on 73 games. Somewhat of a lower KD at the 2.36, but has played 50 champions across 73 games, which is pretty big. My take
That
on him
is
as a player
crazy.
is that he kind of specializes in like tankier bruisery champions, but does have a bit of a flexible pool and can play other things if it is required of him. Then the other
So though,
player,
involving Hidiri though, I do think he is a little bit better on the tanks as well, like the bruisery tanky champions, and but he is playing mid lane these games. I'm pretty sure it's shown, so we'll have to see what kind of picks he busts out as well. He does have like a few mid lane carries, I think. I think he's played like the Zed, the classic sweaty champions, but we'll see what he whips out here. Sorry for interrupting you, but
it's all good. Then the other player we want to look at is Blake on the New York Nutbusters.
Blake!
His most played champions are Gangplank, Yone, Malphite, Silas, Viego. I'm surprised Kassadin is not on here anymore. In contrast with Hidiri's 70 games played, 50 champions played, Blake has nearly 150 games played at this point with only 37 champions played. That means that he averages close to 4 or 5 games on each of his champions, which is pretty high for the server. He has a 54.1% win rate and a 2.74 KD. Pretty impressive stats. And when Blake is in a game, he usually tends to dictate the meta just by his presence alone. He draws a lot of bans and likes to tell his team what to draft, for good or for bad. But I believe that New York Nutbusters is a team of players he's pretty comfortable with, so hopefully they all kind of think about the game the same way, and this is a positive.
Yeah, Blake, known menace on the Rift, has a lot of carry picks that he likes to play. I think some of the champions that aren't listed here is stuff like you said, the Kassadin. I don't think he's played it in a while, but it's like stuff like this. Singed. He has like a very wide champion pool. It's a little more specialized than most people think, but it's still like pretty big into the realm of like specialized champions, such as like the Akshan and stuff like that. I still hate that champion, but that's like a different conversation. I still think he's decent at the character. And then there's also stuff like the Lilia that he has played quite a bit. So we'll have to see what he picks. He did draft all the players that he drafted are like people that are willing to play with him and his playstyle. So we'll have to see what they whip out. Uh, no Ivern so far, but kind of cringe. So
Yeah, Mason, do you think you could locate the draft links for me? Because I think I don't actually have them saved.
I think I have them. Let me find them.
Okay. I'm just gonna search messages from Noam for now, and see if that's able to help me out. Because I
Yeah,
believe
okay,
he's
I found them.
okay.
It's
Yeah.
literally right here.
Can you just send me DMs?
Yeah, I gotcha. I gotcha. Pretty sure it's these two.
All right, I'm going to kick it to draft. This should be the draft for the first game. Um, Metabusters does ban out Gangplank, Rengar, obvious ones, and Kindred is actually a bit surprising. Um, Not sure if Mike's really known for the Kindred, but it is a pretty good champion. Could just do really well into the Scion jungle, which I assume that they're probably looking to pick here. And by assume, I mean I accidentally looked at the draft because we can see the whole thing. Cassante, Echo, and Nami bans are all pretty good against this team. Nothing super surprising there. Teemo is left up, which is kind of notable, but as well as Kayn, actually. Gnome is known for the Kayn jungle. Thresh locked in first is a bit interesting. I think they probably just grabbed it because it's a flex. Honing can obviously play at top. I wouldn't expect it to be a Silico type of champion, though, so they're kind of just blind picking Thresh top. But I guess they could just assume, because New York Nightbusters is kind of new to the server, they might just not know that that's a Honen pick.
Yeah, there's like some aspect of surprise to like locking in the Thresh blind. It's not like the worst blind on planet Earth. The champion doesn't have like a whole lot of like horrible matchups. You can hit hooks, you can still lantern people out of fights. There's like still a lot of utility in the pick, regardless of if it's like top lane or bot lane, and it's like fine blind into like most supports. Like most matchups are pretty playable. It's a high skill cap champion, so not a whole lot of like shit matchups at bot lane, but
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And then we do see the Renata Varus instantly locked in. This is an insanely strong combo right now. Varus is definitely one of the higher tier AD carries right now, and Renata is just a very good champion. It's countered by the Seraphine Karthus. Karthus, again, is a flex. There could be an assumption that it is a Thresh Seraphine bot lane, but given what we know about the draft, they definitely locked this in with the intent of playing Seraphine Karthus bot lane, which honestly I just don't think is very good. Varus has the ability to optimize into lethality, which will just obliterate these champions, especially if he picks up something like a Serpent's Fang, which he may or may not over the course of this game. And then,
even if they go the Wit's End, they can still build stuff like the Wit's End. Like they have a lot of like options. Like even if you go lethality, there's like the Mob Mortius options. It's just like there's so many ways to easily counter these two champions. I really didn't care for the the blind Karthus. I mean, I think it's fine if you put it in the jungle, but I'm not entirely sure where this came from. It's kind of based, I will say, just like hard ego, slam the Karthus. I respect that. And it's like there's like a lot of options for New York Nightbusters to play with the Renata. Renata has like a lot of pairings in like the jungle right now that are super strong. Like you see they lock in the Nocturne, which is also like super good. There are other champions like the Hackerim. There's like a bunch of meta junglers that just really favor the way Renata wants to play. So
yeah. And I think even looking at draft, even though we know all 5 champions that the Nutbusters are playing, we can assume it's Varus, Renata bot lane, Orianna mid. Yeah. Pretty standard. Lily and Nocturne could honestly go either of the 2 roles. I would expect it to be Blake top just because of experience on champions, but I don't really know for sure. So this could be a lock-in for Mike. This could be a lock-in for Blake. Could be assuming it's a Karthus jungle, or they could have a good read on the Thresh top and have picked it into that. We do see Darius and Maokai banned away, so that would actually indicate that they don't think the Karthus is jungle, or that they don't think the Thresh is top. A little bit for both, which does leave mid and bot lane completely uncontested. And then they blind pick Orianna after the Victor and Zoe are banned. I think that kind of cuts into Taxi's pool, so Orianna might just be the best remaining option.
Yeah, I will say that the Ori does pair super well with the Nocturne. You throw the ball on top as they're ulting in. You get the one-bow combo. Ori was also just buffed this patch, I believe. There were like huge, massive buffs to this champion, so I think this is like a super good blind pick, honestly. They already eliminated like the Victor, these kind of matchups that can sort of stabilize or pick off a squishy and mobile mage like Orianna, stuff like the Zoe and the Victor. So I think this is like a fair blind. There's like a lot of utility. It pairs really well with the champions shown so far. It creates a lot of space for like Varus to kite, and it just synergizes super well so far. So I really like this pick. Even though it's blind, I think it's like a really safe blind, and I don't think there's a lot of options to punish. There's like the Syndra, maybe, but like I still think the matchup is pretty playable for Ori. So.
Yep. And then we do see the Irelia, probably a counter pick into the Orianna. I'm not sure how well that matchup goes if you want to check. But it's clearly a response that they intentionally chose. And then we do see the Scion jungle get locked in. It's a bit off
Kind of
meta.
nice.
I'm not sure how good it actually is. I think a huge part of it being pretty strong in the Frostbite tournament was that it was a blind pick tournament
Yeah.
overall. But that's just my take. I think it is pretty punishable if you know that that's what's coming, like with rune settings and stuff. But we'll kind of have to
Yeah.
see how it plays out during this game. And then the draft is rounded out with the final Lilia pick. My guess is that they assumed that it was going to be Scion top, Karthus jungle, Irelia mid, and then Seraphine Thresh bot lane. So the Lilia was a counter pick into the Scion. But I think Metabusters has kind of fallen into a trap here, where you pick a flex pick, but there's actually very clear counters and just kind of like types of champions that counter both your kind of flexes. Because if you're
Yeah.
going for a flex pick like this, you want to make sure that there isn't like one archetype of champion that just shuts down both of your options. You want it to have like kind of advanced matchup tech that kind of makes it specifically more difficult to counter. So I think
Yeah.
Lilia actually does do quite well into both Scion and Thresh, although we will have to see if how that plays out in game.
Yeah, I do tend to agree. I also think like Metabusters has like an insanely hard time dealing with Lilia in general, right? Like you have to hit hooks, you have to hit abilities in order to kill the Lilias. So, like, and with the amount of movement speed the champion has, you're like almost never guaranteed to land CC on that champion unless you draft stuff like Maokai, stuff like with guaranteed lockdown, stuff like the Alistar, the Leonas, the stuff that like you don't really have to hit abilities to like guarantee CC on them. So I think this Lilia pick is really smart. It gives you like peel disengage type of flavor, lots of damage still, and it like just doesn't lose to like the way meta busters would want to play fights, which is like hitting abilities and stuff. Like Scion ult's super easy to dodge, Scion Q's easy to dodge. It's like this Lilia has a lot of free reign to do what they want. So also I did look it up. Irelia does counter Orianna, but it's only like a 1% win rate difference. So it's like I'd say it's fine to take like a matchup like this for the Orianna because it has better synergy with your comp. But yeah, I think I prefer the draft of New York Nutbusters a little bit better. They have like a very synergistic draft, and I just like the way that they've designed this draft. Lots of engage options, lots of disengage options. You can play fights super flexibly and stuff. So
Yep. I do want to take a quick look at the champion highlights. So we've actually had Thresh versus Lilia top before.
wait,
and the Lilia... Oh, wait, fuck. Okay, we're not going to look at these because they're probably from a game that just happened.
yeah, I was about to say.
Yeah, so actually maybe none of these are worth looking at. Season records I do think is good. Lilia has been about even in win rate and has performed really well. Nocturne not doing great so far. Orianna been doing pretty well, and Varus and Renata both performing well as you'd kind of expect. I wish it would kind of stay here, but if I hit stop, it just goes away. Karthus we can kind of ignore because it's on a low sample size. Scion has not been doing great. And Irelia and Seraphine have been doing decent, but the KDs have not been looking pretty good. These player matchups we can completely just skip because they totally don't matter at all, and we are just going to hop into the waiting and kind of hide some of these. I think it is a bit scuffed to do a recast when we've actually had the data entered in already.
Spoilers!
Oopsie, oopsie. No one checked the server at all to figure out how these games played out. And we are loading into game as we speak, and we will see how this kind of turns out. So it is going to be the Lilia top lane if there was any confusion on that, which I think, honestly, reasonably, if you weren't sure, that kind of makes sense. But yeah, so it is going to be Blake on the new name. Chemtech Lamar is going to be playing this Lilia top lane.
Yet, TBH. I like this name.
Yep. And we do have Mike on the Nocturne,
start, which is pretty interesting. I think Mike, the way Nocturne plays is sort of like good for Mike's champion pool. I think it's like it has or it plays a lot similarly to like the style of champion that they enjoy playing, like these assassin-y type champions that like want good engage.
Silco's just like hard looking for some first strike gold there. Isn't able to find anything in either of the two bushes he checked.
Fishing for money.
Yep.
No, did take the grasp in the jungle, which is a little suspect, but sure, I guess.
Yeah, I think
Um,
you'd probably want anything else. I think Phase Rush probably has a lot of utility and Aftershock as well. Guardian
yeah,
and Grasp are kind of pretty hard to proc when you don't have a
in the
lane that
jungle.
you're playing
Yeah.
against.
If you don't have like a guaranteed way to be near someone and guarantee use out of the Guardian, it's kind of hard. I used to play like Guardian Shen jungle. That's just kind of fun because when you ulti on top of someone, you instantly get the Guardian shield on top of your Shen'll. It's really silly. But anyways, there is also the lethal tempo on the Varus, so this probably indicates it's more of a on hit setup, which is good here. I think it's good into like
Congratulations,
the
you've picked the better
Sion.
Varus build. You're not like a sheep who
Yeah,
watches pro play and goes, "Oh, they're building lethality Varus. I should." No, you're fucking wrong.
true.
On hit Varus is the way.
Yeah.
Just do it. If you want a
Also
poke
smart.
champion, pick Caitlyn or Lucian.
Yeah. I will say it's also smart rune setups because our summoner spells because I think cleanse is a lot of value here. You're able to cleanse the thresh hook, the seraphine charm, just like really solid value. So I like this a lot. Also, you can build wits end and stuff into their double AP carry threat. So
True.
as we look, also Blake did start the sapphire crystal. Is this slowly attack? I don't know of. Kind of based.
I
I
think
thought our
it's pretty
AP
good.
ratios got
Helps
but
you
buff,
zone
but
the Lilia, or helps you zone the Thresh off the way for longer, especially because Sion
that's
isn't going to
true.
have a huge gank threat until level 6. Silico's actually playing this early game really well. Pokes PB down to about a quarter health earlier in the game before that level 2 is hit. The exhaust does drop down from Silico in exchange for the ignite from PB. Hidiri is
Yeah.
getting chunked out in this mid lane though.
They're just looking for
Taxi
these aggressive
seems to be
E's.
pretty comfortable with this lane despite the counter matchup, although Hidiri is going in and forces the flash for the ignite.
Oh, the flash
Although
in. Ooh.
Hidiri trades back and then gets first blooded,
Into the
expects
wave.
2
Icky,
summoner
bro.
spells, and isn't
That
able to
is
pick it
not
up.
it, bro. Fighting in that wave is like super rough, isn't it? It's a little okay if you're Aurelia, but you didn't even
Yeah.
hit the Q. Last
Blake
hit,
is not even worrying about the Thresh here though, and is looking for a solo
They
kill
have
on
no
Noam
damage
in the
on this top
jungle.
side. He could just walk around them forever. It's actually
Yep.
kind of illegal.
Although
Burns the
his
flash here.
flash is burned, Mike did go for a gank bot lane, isn't
Yep.
necessarily able to force too much out, although I believe both the flashes of Silico and Jacob were burned during this exchange.
Yeah.
Blake continues to harass Noam as he tries to farm the jungle,
Yeah.
just exhibiting a lot of pressure, which has a lot of value.
I
Blake
will
is
say
hooked
it's a
here,
bit of
but
a
there's just
weird
nothing
pathing.
there.
Yeah. Bit of weird pathing from Mike. Doesn't opt for full clear on Nocturne, which you kind of want to hit level 6 earlier. But he does manage to burn Summoner's Botland, so I don't think it's like the worst thing on planet Earth.
Yeah, I also think of a bit more leniency when you have a top laner who's harassing the other jungler who also really needs to hit 6 before he can do anything. Blake does
Yeah.
get hooked there, and Honan can look for something. Blake falls down really
Okay,
low. Honan's
auto.
getting a lot with the auto, but Hidiri is getting ganked in the mid lane. Mike and Taxi are looking for a play.
He did hit the
Hidiri's
Q.
going to get hit with the fear. Mike goes in crazy. The speed boost from the Ori goes hard, and that is a kill picked up for Mike. Mr.
Yeah.
Rangargle My Nuts himself.
Kind of based. Kind of based. It did hit every Q, so like the gank was pretty guaranteed. Hidiri had burned flash earlier. Mike should know that if his mid laner timed it. I'm pretty sure they did, so this is just a good setup from them. Not really much to talk about. It's just like
Yeah, I mean, the
very well
Irelia's
executed.
died twice in a counter matchup,
Yeah.
which is really hard to see.
Yeah.
It's a very like kind of hit or miss champion, and we have seen some things in the previous season. We've had an Irelia player into a Nivea, kind of scuffed gameplay there. I'm not gonna lie, but
Dang, calling out someone there, or what's going on?
I
It
don't
looks
know.
like the wall is coming out.
Yep,
That
the
does have to be
flash
the flash.
burned out of Mike, but PB and Mike. Or PB and Alex are here to kind of follow it up, but Alex is really low, and PB's flash is
Has
forced
to
as
burn the
well.
flash. Okay. Good flash, getting out of the Sonic Q range. Probably just a necessity. Arguably, you could have just not rotated to that. There's probably no way you ever make that fight work out for you guys, given how low you are. But looks like they are just rotating straight for the dragon. Then Thresh rotated all the way down from top lane, missing a lot of CS just to guarantee this dragon. But first dragon.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, if you are picking Thresh top, I don't think you're doing it to really obtain some sort of CS lead. You're definitely picking it as more of a utility champion. You are gonna hard lose to most top laners. Lily is a good example of that. She's able to just outrange you and kind of abuse your inability to lane like a real
Yeah.
champion. I think there could be an argument here to build a support item on the Thresh, just because of the lack of CS you are going to be getting. The reduced gold isn't going to matter as much, and can kind of facilitate the roaming playstyle. But it looks like Honan is trying to lane, gets a hook, tries to pull the Lilia under tower, does get a tower shot, but the Lilia just out-trades you so hard that it kind of doesn't matter that Lilia is eating tower. PB is here to facilitate the gank. Hidiri gets the stun off, goes in. The Renata Q just goes wide, or the Renata E goes wide, but the Q is there to pull it up, and Taxi should just be able to kill. It's up 2 levels at 6 minutes. Renata's able to get a kill. And honestly, it kind of sucks for the Ori, but your laners died 3 times in 6 minutes, so you really can't be upset. Hidiri is a pretty strong player, but for what I've seen recently, his mid lane has kind of struggled with dying a lot in the early game. So see if he's able to kind of redeem himself later in the game. Something to note is there have only been 3 kills in the entire game, and there is a member of the Metabusters who has died 3 times. So something to kind of look for as a weak point in this team in the future, and see if they're able to patch it up going forward.
Yeah, it was just a really good roam from PB, just like hitting the Renata Q into the Oriole. Really good chain CC. Able to burn down the Irelia, just really punish the Irelia for overextending all the time. So
yep. And Blake is getting a lot of damage on here. The sleep is applied. There are some matchups where burning Lilia ultimate is not necessarily great, but into the Thresh matchup, it should be pretty free. There's nothing Thresh can really do to counter it. The one thing he can kind of do is buffer out the Q. Yep. The flash is just burned. Mike doesn't have 6 here, and Noam does, so both of these 6 reliant junglers, definitely something you want to focus on, and Noam could make a play with the ultimate soon.
Yeah, it looks like he is going for like either the Stridebreaker or the Gore Drinker setup. I do think this is the optimal way to play Nocturne. There's like the funny haha Axiom Mark build. I don't think that's super viable just because like it makes you really, really squishy. I think the Gore Drinker did also get buffed. Oh wait, there's a hook under the tower before I continue my thought.
Blake takes a lot of damage there, but Thresh just really doesn't have anything after he burns the Flay auto and the hook. And Mike goes in bot, finally got the ultimate. Silico is level 4, falling down low, is able to get a spell shielded, and huge chains of corruption coming out from Alex. Jacob falls down low, but should just be able to get out here. They're just standing directly on top of Silico. The Karthus doesn't offer much of a threat because he's on a support budget. Some may call it a welfare check. We may never know if that is accurate or not. Taxi is able to force out the ultimate in trade for Hidiri. Does have to burn his flash, but isn't able to pick up a kill here. But Hidiri isn't able to pick up a kill either.
I think the Ori should just be able to out-sustain, even though like the Aurelia has ramps up there. They can't walk up to the wave without losing all of their HP to Q and autos and stuff. Yep.
Hidiri falls low. Hidiri gets some damage. And yeah, that Q from the Orianna is just able to pick up another kill on Hidiri. Hidiri is no longer every single kill in the game, but is still 0-4-0 in a counter matchup.
Yeah. It's not looking good. I will say New York Numbusters has been setting up their mid laner for success, though. They've played around them really well, just making sure that the mid lane matchup has been like accounted for.
Oh my god, Blake getting so much damage without even the sleep coming out. If he burned it there, he could guarantee a kill, but it really looks like Blake's just holding it. The huge ult flash! Oh my god. TD's playing crazy. Silico's falling down. Mike is looking for Jacob, but isn't going to be able to pick it up. It's just going to change his focus to Silico. Does get charmed up and might dive to the Karthus, but no. Triumph is able to heal him up, and he is able to get out. And Karthus is still level 5, so no ult is going to come out to finish the kill. And Mike Rangargle My Nuts is able to get the healing from the level up to level 7 to secure his health, even if Silico was able to get the level there.
It was just a really good flash ulti from PB that it hit both of them, and it just helped you buy enough time for the Nocturne to show up and deal enough damage to kill the Karthus. So really well played.
Yeah, I think Renata's definitely one of those champions that you don't see played too much, so you might not expect her to be able to hit ulti and then flash as the animation is going off. A lot of champions do have that interaction, but I think Renata kind of falls in the category of one you might not expect. Noam is able to steal away the Heavy Raptor, has to burn Unstoppable, but Blake just walks in, and now we might see Blake's ulti if he's able to apply it on 2. Noam gets lanterned out, but is just going to die to Blake. Blake has held ulti all game. So
He
we'll see
doesn't
if he
need it.
ever
Like
does burn it. Yeah,
their
he's
top
up
side doesn't do any
basically
damage.
double CS, which is
Yeah.
absurd.
They have the Moonplate. Is that what it's called? Winged Moonplate on the Thresh?
Yeah.
Looks like they're really trying to play for this realm. Mike does have the Caulfield's Warhammer, so it does look like this is a Gore Drinker setup. I think it's really good with the Renata. You're probably never getting kited, so you just want to sustain as long as you can in fights and stuff. I will say Taxi also does have the tier as well with the Lost Chapter, so they are always going to be having a lot of mana. I will say Archangel's was changed recently to have like the shield. It is such a disgustingly strong item. I think every mid laner should be building this if you can.
Yeah.
Setup is just way
Irelia
too good.
Archangels. Fucking
True,
crap, bro.
true, right? So
Yeah,
base,
Hidiri
so
is
base.
able to get the stun, which should save his life. A
Yeah.
lot of plays could be happening here. The Nocturne all comes down. Jacob should just die here. I don't see a way for him to get out. He walks directly into the Orianna. Taxi does whiff it, but Silico's going to die. Silico is still level 5, doesn't have the ultimate.
Mike gets this smite. Okay.
Yep, and Noam should just fall here as well, but I think Mike is actually going to live. The bailout comes in huge, and Noam just isn't going to have the speed to approach him.
Yep.
There's so many speed ups on the side of the Nordic Knockbusters,
Yeah.
and this is a 10-0 lead to start the game. If you look at the gold graph, that is
my
about a
lord.
5,500 gold lead, which is disgusting. The one
Yeah.
saving grace the Metabusters have is they do have one dragon so far this game, but I'm not really sure what it's going to get them. It is a Chemtech dragon, which is going to give them bonus damage at low health, but if you're just dying to the opponents, you're not going to stay that way for long.
Yeah.
Silico is still at level 5. Karthus does want that ultimate, especially with the first strike. He does hit 6 right here. He could look with for a cheeky ultimate to proc the first strike, but
that's not what you want to see on your Karthus. Yeah, I will say though, you did see the power of like the Renata Nocturne that I was talking about earlier. Once Nocturne gets in, he's always in. But if you have 2 lives, it's like so gross on the Nocturne. You can output so much damage in these fights with the Renata bailout, the extra attack speed, the second life to just keep buying time for your carries to start stacking up damage. It's just so gross. It's so good.
Hidiri
really like
is running around really quick in the mid lane, but honestly, just look at the damage the Taxi's able to deliver.
Yeah.
Hidiri knows that he's
like
not trying to fight because he's just going to lose that matchup. I think something I'd probably want to see change in draft for the Metabusters is you might want a real top laner. I think you can get away with this strategy into some of the weaker players on some other teams, but Blake is just too solid of a player to go for some cheese like this. And Mike is going in looking for a kill, does burn flash, and he dies regardless. He was hoping for Triumph to save his life, but the tower just ramped up too much.
I will say, if you're trying to give gold, or if you had to like die to someone, the Thresh is probably the best bet. Looks like Hidiri is going for the trade though, but
the flash goes in, could be big. Trades flash, but it takes a tower shot, and he might just die there. I don't necessarily see a way for him out here.
They're playing this so risky. I like it though. Very frisky.
Silico's ult comes out, which does lower Orianna's health. Hidiri could just go for a crazy play to try and lower this. He's at full stacks, but
coming in.
Blake flash Qs, and there's no hope left for Hidiri. Lilia signals to all in twice on the Scion. Could see a play coming out here, but it looks like there might not be. Camera is focused on the bot lane. We'll have to see if the Chains of Corruption come out to secure a kill here. Taxi walks up, picks up some honey fruits right on top of the Skull Crab Vision.
Cleaver first. I will say I do like this itemization. It is like Black Cleaver did recently get buffed, so this item
no.
Good
and Mike takes out Jacob before the Seraphine ult is even able to come out. Is that Encore?
Yeah.
Is that remotely even correct?
I think so. I think it's Encore.
That would be crazy if I knew that.
8800 that one. TLDR.
True. Blake might just get a solo cure without having to burn ulti, and Blake picks him up. That's 3-0-1 on the Lilia. And Blake is kind of just asserting dominance.
I think it is jungle diff just because Mike has died one time, so clearly the better jungler wins. Yeah, no, should definitely win this game from this point. To be honest, kind of cringe feeding shutdowns. True. Anyways, yeah.
And Blake should just pick up the top tower here. This is just a really tough spot for Metabusters. You're down about 8,000 gold at 15 minutes. You're bleeding 1,000 gold quicker than every 2 minutes of gameplay, which is just not what you want to see. The Irelia not doing great. The bot lane not doing great either. The top side has kind of managed to bleed the least.
Yeah. But you're still down like 60 CS. I'm not sure if you can call that not bleeding super hard. And New York Nutbusters has also itemized pretty correctly here. This is probably not surprising considering it's Blake's team. They have like the Leandries for the Scion and the
Oh, and Taxi gets hooked. Honen's going in, pulls Sidiri over, but I just don't think there's a play here. Or he just does too much damage, and the AP ratios on the shields can be huge. Blake and Mike are both here. Taxi falls down low, but the Irelia is just dead, and Thresh doesn't do anything,
really good
and he's picked up as
well.
well.
New York Nutbusters. Good ulti from Mike, and Blake was there on the play to make sure that they can secure this. They also get the dragon, so there'll be like 2 dragons off still. Stacking Ocean Dragons is really good with like a Renata, a lot of sustain and stuff, especially with like your bailout. So have to see how it goes. I do like the Rylai's second as well from Blake. It just offers like a lot of utility. It's a lot of HP, so you can kind of be like this front-lining threat, especially with like the Renata on top. So I do like the way that they're itemizing as well. Super smart stuff from them.
And honestly, like as cool as it is to just be like, I like the Rylai's. Yeah, Blake has 2 items at 17 minutes, including boots. So that's kind of crazy. Very strong. They have no opportunity to steal this dragon, so this is just going to be a second one picked up for the New York Nutbusters. They're up 16-1 kills, 1 turret to 0, a Rift Herald, and 2 dragons.
They're very well second Herald as well. Should be pretty easy if they go for it.
Yep, good dodge of the hook there by Alex. Nice sidestep.
Yes, sir. Looks like they're just fishing for this Herald fight. I think this fight will always favor New York Nutbusters.
Well, yeah, I mean, if you have Chains of Corruption plus the Renata ulti, PB is falling low but has bailout down, and Mike is able to possibly just pick up 2 here. Yep, picks up 2. The Karthus ulti comes down, is able to get some damage, but it's spell shielded by Mike. Really good pick into the Karthus. I wonder if that was part of the intention there. Could be, because the Nocturne was picked after the Karthus. And it looks like they're able to just turn after picking up 3 kills. Scion, Seraphine, and Karthus down for absolutely nothing. And New York Nutbusters is going to be able to pick up a pretty free Herald here.
Yeah, they could honestly drop this like mid or bot lane, just like try to knock down these towers, start like expanding your gold lead exponentially. They're already like so far ahead, but like just getting these extra towers for gold is like super good. It opens up Baron plays, it opens up a lot of your map plays, so I would like to see them like just start brute forcing these towers. You win fights, you win everything.
Could be something here. Hidiri goes in, knocks down Taxi quite low, is almost able to pick it up, flashes in, Flash Ignite is burned, it has to burn literally everything, but is able to pick up 1,000 gold shutdown under the Orianna. Getting some gold to the Irelia could be huge, yeah.
Yep. Could make it like a potential side lane threat. Because in theory, if you hit the E on the Lilia, you might be able to start winning those 1v1s. I kind of doubt it, but it's like that's still a lot of gold to fork over. So looks like they are almost on the Herald. Mike does finish up his Gore Drinker. He is going to be disgustingly tanky. Gore Drinker did also get changed as well. Gives you like flat HP alongside the haste now. So I think this is like pretty good as an item. It like gives you tankiness. It gives you like more abilities as well, and the spell shield does have a lot of value here, so just good to have it up more often. Looking for the ult onto the
Jacob just immediately flashes upon the Nocturne ulti, realizing that it is on him. Honestly, pretty good play.
Always make sure you're always ready to like flash the Nocturne ulti.
Oh, and the hook hits. No ultis. I'm not necessarily sure if that's able to do anything. Taxi's in a rough spot here, but the double sleep comes down. Thresh should just get picked up here. Isn't even attacked. Waits for the shockwave to hit the increased damage on the sleep, and that's going to be a double kill gifted right over to Taxi. Blake doing a really good job playing that supportive style on the more supportive champion into Lilia, and getting some extra gold into the control mage in the mid lane.
Yeah, they're pinging the Baron. This is a really smart call. You have a Varus, you have a Lilia, Orianna with the Leandries as well. This is like a really fast Baron. I like this call a lot.
Yeah, Seraphine's best hope is going to be able to try and get something down, but takes so many tower shots for no reason.
Ulti comes
And
out.
Mike is just able to pick this up. Spell shields again, denying the first strike gold from Silico. And now Taxi's going to walk down, try and get a kill. Mike ultis onto the Silico. Silico falls down low, is the nearsighted, is probably not going to be able to hit Qs because of it. Irelia falls, and Silico's trying his best to get out, but Mike burns the flash. Absolutely no remorse, just picks up the Nocturne, or the picks up the Karthus.
Yeah, they should just start knocking down these towers for free. With the Baron buff, they still... Oh, they don't have the Herald, but they have the Baron buff, so... Should be a couple free towers just continue to expand on their gold lead. Yeah. It's almost 11k gold lead. That's fucking nuts, man.
Yeah, props to Jacob, though. Was able to pick up the tower in return. Yep. And I believe... never mind. Anyway, MetaBusters does have 2 kills, spread out across both solo laners now at this point, rather than just being on Honan. But it was
he is opting for the Wit's End as well. It's pretty good into like the Ori and the Lilia. Those are the people you're probably going to be seeing a lot of. I also don't know if I mentioned it, but the Seraph shield plus the Orianna shield in that last fight where it got procced, that shit was the size of Africa, man. Please nerf the Seraph's Embrace out of it. It's so fucking strong on these mage champions. Actually makes it super hard to punish them in like extended team fights and stuff. So
yep, and Jacob looks for it, but Blake is able to just walk out of range of both the Seraphine ulti and the Thresh hook, so... and it looks like Noam's trying to collapse, but there are 4 members here. Taxi just needs to stay alive for a little bit. He gets a shield from the Archangels and from his abilities, and Mike's able to pick up the first kill of the fight, running in, getting the fear. Noam is dropping quite low. The zombie might do something, but all the members who are low can just simply walk away. Ori just shields herself, gives herself the movement speed. I believe 1 Heart Seal proc might have been picked up onto Alex, but that's all you're really getting. And Blake just picks up an easy breezy solo kill. The Thresh is falling down for his 5th death of the game.
Even have to back off here. He can keep fighting. Like, there's no one on that team that does any damage to him. The 2 main damage characters are here, and I don't think they'd still do anything. I will say this is kind of why I don't like Heartsteel as an item. It sort of just doesn't do anything. Yes, the extra HP is nice, but you're still like super squishy to like these comps that are building like Leandri's, like the percent health damage in the game is like at an all-time high. I just don't think like the Heartsteel has any kind of value here. I think the Radiant Virtue probably would have been a bit better for like the utility and the healing, but I respect it. TM ego play, meta busting, I guess.
Yeah, no one was potentially looking for a wraparound here, but Hidiri versus Taxi is actually the fight we're going to see. Hidiri's able to pick up another solo kill, but it looks like Blake was able to just kill Jacob on the top side. I was just about to say he shouldn't be able to force a fight there because of the tower, but I guess that Jacob just walked up far enough that, yeah, it was just over. Blake's able to pick up another kill.
We are seeing how the matchup is kind of hard for the Orianna. You can't match the Aurelia inside lanes. She should always beat you in the 1v1 as long as you hit the E. So it is still like a counter matchup, as it's shown pretty clearly here. But I think the Orianna has offered a lot more in these team fights, so I think it more than makes up for this one misplay. TM.
Yep, that is a very good assessment in my opinion. Mike has been playing this game so well. Although shout out to the bot lane and top lane of the meta, or of the New York Now Busters, who just have not died at all.
Yeah, I will say that they are getting set up really well by this Orianna, this Renata. They have been making a lot of proactive plays with their Nocturne, their jungler. This is like a jungler's wet dream right here. You always want your teammates to come
and Honan could be in a bad spot here. The Karthus comes down. Honan goes for the flash Thresh hook, something I do not endorse ever. The Berserk comes down. Hidiri is in a bad place, gets picked up. Blake's in a bad spot here, but does still have the Lilia ulti available to him. But he gets charmed CC for so long, pops to sleep, is able to run out. Does live. Noam drops down low. Noam is going to go into zombie, and this is 3 kills so far for the side of the New York Now Busters with nothing in return. But actually, Noam's able to walk up, pop the Heartsteel onto PB, and is able to pick up 1 kill for his team there. And it is a clean 4 for 1. Unfortunately, honestly, for the Nutbusters, there are no objectives available here, but that fight is huge. There's no one to defend topside, and Taxi should just be able to pick up the bot tower as well. Might be able to get 2. The first respawn is Hidiri in 8 seconds.
Yeah, and you see the power of like the Lilia here. Like, they tanked 6 CC abilities, and the side of Mudbusters couldn't even kill them still. It's like, this, like, they have like no burst damage on their team, and the Lilia has these HP items that kind of mitigate the kind of damage that they have in like the Demonic, the Rylai's. This Lilia is kind of unkillable once they get the Conqueror procced and has their passive going. So this is just strength of the Lilia pick, able to buy so much time. I will say that was a really good ulti from Mike, ulting right on top of the what's the ability called? The hostile takeover.
Oh, and here he goes again. The Irelia is able to pick up one stun. The other stun is spell shielded. Hidiri falls low and is just going to get picked up before he's able to kill Taxi. Taxi is ignited. Noam's here to try and defend the fight, but I don't think he's going to be able to get anything done. He does get feared, and it looks like a clean disengage from New York Nutbusters after picking up a clean 1-for-0. And Hidiri has hit the 10-death power spike, so we could see a huge outplay from the Irelia coming soon, sitting at 2 items and looking like he's building towards a potential Aegis of the Legion to complete another item. No mythic is completed, so it's probably going to be, as Mason just said, the Jock Show.
I will say, most of my Irelia friends, aka and Peter, have been saying that Jock Show is kind of bait on this champion nowadays. I think they've been saying that the shield bow is a lot better because the Jock Show now scales with like bonus resistances rather than flat resistances. So it is a bit of a weaker option here. I think it's like fine considering you're so far behind, but
also you do have the Wits End build, so you do have some bonus resistances going for you, which is pretty helpful. It looks like PB and Mike are just going to solo this. The Varus does show up, which is going to add a lot of damage, though. I think Varus probably has more damage than the other two of them combined. And Blake is,
fun.
He's distracting 3 of them. That's more than a job that he needs to do, but he's going to come here and try to finish off the Baron. I think a lot of damage to it, and the Ocean Soul is up in 30 seconds, so they're probably just going to grab the Baron and then rotate bot to try and pick up the 4-for-1 Ocean Soul. The Chemtech Dragon is on the side of Metabusters, but I'm not really sure how much it does for them here, because they are going to get bonus damage resistance and tenacity at low health, but Blake can just sleep them and then look at pops. Blake's dodges this game have been so good, and he does still have flash here. Gets the double drowsy, is able to dodge out of the Scion ability, gets a chunk down onto Noam, and Mike's ulti is here to cloud the vision, forces a potential disengage, but actually just goes down to Hidiri. He's in a 3v1 scenario, and Mike should just be able to pick up this kill, but he gives it over to Alex. Blake is somehow still fighting, picks up a kill onto Noam.
The 1v4?
Gets so much damage, flashes for another kill. It's a 2-for-0 in a 1v4. Gets hit by the Karthus ulti, but is just going to live. Gets a triple kill. Unfortunately, the bailout happens afterwards, and Leandrix from the Seraphine is going to pick him up. Blake almost pulled a triple kill in a 1v4, which is basically unheard of. Okay, triple kill and survived is what I meant to say.
Yeah. Okay, real talk, that support gap, you should have pressed the W after he died, or like right before, or like before the damage went through. TM, joke, I don't know.
That is cap. It is a Blake gap. Blake should have walked into an extra Seraphine ability and died before getting the kill.
True, real.
Unironically.
Yeah, I think it's fine though. The game is basically over. It's like a, what is this, 18 or 1.8k, I don't know. It's like a stupid high, 18k, 17k gold lead. Am I reading this right? Question mark.
That is 17,000.
Yeah, so 1.7k. I don't fucking know.
No, 17k.
Yeah, okay, I was right. I'm stupid, for sure. Anyways, 17k gold lead for the side of New York Nutbusters. This game is all but over. Looks like the Hex Drinker is coming out from Mike as well, just to like force, like all their damage is AP essentially. So like building this Hex Drinker to just make it so Karthus does negative damage, so Seraphine does negative damage. I really like
and Mike goes in and dodges out of the Jacob ulti. Doesn't even have to burn Spell Shield to do it. Mike is able to pick up another kill. This is 2 kills over for the side of the New York Nutbusters. Goes in for a third, picks it up, and he does have the Guardian Angel to bail himself out if needed, and Blake is able to pick up another kill, gets Honan down quite low. Honan is not going to be able to get picked up right here. Gnome's looking for some Heartsteel procs, and it looks like Honan is going to die. Gets the Thresh Hook off before dying, but isn't able to pull Blake into the fountain because he is dead. Gnome goes in to try and burn ulti, but this is going to be a 5-for-0 ace. PB does flash to live out the Heartsteel, but this should just be the game ended for the side of the New York Nutbusters. Metabusters kind of in shambles here. A bit of a complete disaster. Not able to pick up too much this game. We'll see if there's any adaptations this game. They did lose this game with a 20,500 gold deficit. Very ridiculous.
I'm just saying I'm number one mathematician. No, don't ever doubt my math skills again. Thank you. Anyways,
Okay, no.
yeah,
To
very
clarify,
insane game one.
Noam, it's not that he doesn't know math, it's that he doesn't know what K means, which is
Yeah,
honestly more excusable.
thank you. Thank you. Bless.
All right,
We'll get him in game.
I'll get the next stuff set up. So,
Uh,
can you just kind of space fill for now?
yeah. I will say I think a lot of props to the way New York Nutbusters drafted. It was like a very solid comp. We saw like a lot of the advantages that they had into the side of Metabusters. I do think my MVP is actually going to go to PB. The Renato play was
Interesting.
so good there.
I
I think
would
they set up a
vote for
lot for
Mike
Mike.
personally.
Yeah, I would agree. But I think they did a lot more to set up Mike instead of the other way around. In my opinion, at least, I think the Renata was hitting a lot of key ultimates. Uh, I I think it's like hard to show mastery on support and like really have impact on the game in the way that PV did. So I think, or not, yeah, PV. So I think it should go to them. I am a hit a
All right.
lot of
I mean,
clutch ultimates, a lot of
I
clutch
will
they
default to you
out.
because you
So
were there on the original day. And I think that is a pretty good take. Both of
yeah,
them did play really well. I
yep.
think my
I
take
think it's
is
really close to be
just
fair.
that Mike had more effect on the map throughout the entire game, because I feel like PB
Yeah,
kind of showed up more in the later stages.
yeah. I
Um,
think that I just think that the Renata played super well, pairing up with like I think they did pair up with the jungler really well. So that's why I give them a lot of credit. I think showing the amount of mastery that they did on support is pretty difficult. So I just think they deserve the credit on that one. But
Yeah. Just going to
uh,
spotlight Silica real quick going into the next game. He has played 96 games for the server, 52.1% win rate, 3 kitty, and 50 different champions played, so about 2 games per champion. Why I chose to spotlight him is because he didn't have much impact in the last game, but he is considered probably the best player on his team. So we'll see if
yep.
he's kind of able to add an X factor to his team going in to the next game. It is not
Correct.
letting me move around here. Champions to watch. Here are some just pretty typical champions. We'll
Yep.
move ahead. We do see the Ori and the Renata returning, and this Kindred is a notable champion for Mike, so it kind of makes sense why it was banned.
I
We'll
wonder why DP
move.
keeps showing up in Blake's
Oh,
notable champions.
yeah, and I do think the key matchup here is going to be Mike versus Noam. Noam was the only one who's able to kind of stay in touch with his counterpart. Had a
Yep.
CS lead for most of the game and wasn't bleeding out too much, although Mike was able to pick up a lot of resources around the map.
Agreed.
Ignore the matchup stats, simply just don't look at them. They're not relevant. Their overall stats are pretty similar. Mike has a bit of a better KD and a slightly better win rate. But they've played
Yep.
about a similar amount of games, and both of them have pretty diverse champion pools.
Yep.
Blake,
I think
I'm gonna spotlight, obviously. But go ahead and
yes,
talk
of
about the jungle
course.
matchup.
I think I think we see like a very differing style of like jungle pool from the two of them as well. We saw like Mike with like the more carry oriented stuff, like the Udyr, like
I mean,
the
literally look at all 5 of these champions. Like
yeah, these are
every
all like
single one of them
hard
is a
carry
carry.
Smurf champions. It's like the Kindred, the Graves, the Rengar. You're trying to sit there and ego the enemy jungler, which I really like. I think it adds like a dynamic play style to the way you want to play jungle. Um, I think
For
Noam has like a bit of
Noam,
a safer play style,
Kane
more
and
consistent by
Diana,
far.
Kane,
I still
Diana,
think,
and then Silas,
yeah,
I think could all fit into the carry umbrella. But Vi, Zach, Remus, those are crazy supportive champions that you probably won't ever
yeah,
see Mike playing.
yeah,
Vi maybe I feel like could fit into his play style if he builds something more aggressive, but
yeah.
these are
I
very tanky.
yeah, I do think also like Kane and Vi can like or Kane and Diana have swapped to like the more tanky like
Definitely.
bruisery uh playstyle. So I do think this is like a potential good fill player type of playstyle. It's like play to shore up your team's weaknesses and like enable your teammates more so than like the resource intensive playstyle that Mike clearly prefers. So I think this is like a really cool matchup dynamic to highlight as well.
Yeah, I do want to hop into the game before too long. Just going to shout out
Yeah.
Blake. I believe we already looked at this. Not much has really changed since we haven't
Yep.
entered any additional games. So yeah, this is all pretty much the same. I'm just
Mhm.
going to not talk about anything after the draft because, as we saw previously, they're all just going to be dead spoilers. for what we're about to see. So I just don't think
Correct.
there's a point. So we'll just hop into draft, try and skim over it pretty quickly, and just hop off into game so we don't delay the podcast too much.
Okay.
This is a completely different draft than what we saw before. Rengar, Renata, GP are different bans. The Kindred gets left up, doesn't get picked, so not sure it necessarily changed anything. Cassante, Echo, and Nami are, I believe, the same bands that we saw previously. But Alex is going to first pick the Caitlyn. I think that's not something that we've necessarily seen too much out of him, but a pretty strong champion in the meta right now. And we do see Sivir Twitch locked in to counter it. ADC supports are fucking cringe. Why are you picking this? I hate you. But you're the meta busters, except you're not busting the meta because ADC supports are all the rage right now. Kind of Giga Sleeper. Hate to see it. Lux is locked in to complement the Caitlyn, and TF recently buffed. Very fun. I think, as I was saying in the podcast, I'd like to see some more Twisted Fate, and clearly Taxi, #1 State of Scrims fan, listen to me, locks in the Twisted Fate, much love, huge shout out. I absolutely love to see this. Hidiri picks the Swain, Giga Sleeper, and I don't necessarily think you win that matchup. Twisted Fate is able to just drop a gold card and then just run away from you, and then your ult's gone. We see the Wukong and Maokai band away, cutting off Mike's pool, but I'm not sure if he necessarily even plays those champions. I don't think Blake would be caught dead playing either of those champions for what it's worth. And then Sion,
definitely not the Maokai. Maybe the Wukong. There's an argument for the Wukong, I think, somewhere in the universe.
True. And then Sion and Nocturne band away. Sion, no one picked last time. Nocturne, I don't know. Maybe no one would play it. Maybe they just think it's a really good champion. We'll have to see. The Aatrox is locked in blind. Sleeper. Why would you pick Aatrox blind? Just not that good anymore. Fiora, huge, counters it. Darius, huge, counters it. Just a tough spot. Not sure how I feel about it.
I think it was more of a denial pick to like deny both Mike and Blake. Which is like a fair strategy, I think.
I just think you can ban it over Maokai. I don't think either of those players are banning Maokai or picking Maokai. Anyway, it's countered with an easy Yone and then the Udyr blind pick. I know Silico is a huge proponent of picking Jarvan into the Udyr to just shut it down, puts him in a little cage, and normally Udyr's going to take Ghost, so there's literally nothing he can do to get over the cage. I think that's actually a pretty good pick to round out the draft. I also think Jarvan Swain has a lot of synergy. And if you think of Jarvan Twitch as well, you can kind of trap him in the poison and get a lot off there. So I think Metabusters comp does go pretty well together. I do think that Metabusters comp does really poorly into the Nutbusters comp, just because Caitlyn Lux is going to harass your double AD carry lane pretty hard.
Twisted Fate is going to try to leave lane all the time, and
like it's going to do really well into Swain.
I will say that I think the Caitlyn Lux should just like if you're playing like these roam style AD carry supports like the Twitch, Caitlyn Lux is going to be at your ADC's tower. They're going to be taking plates for free with no punish, and it's just why are you even trying the strategy into this spot lane? I think it's not the play TM, and you could kind of see it coming if they lock in a Caitlyn. They're probably going to try to strong side their bot side. So.
Yep, and then the other thing to mention is obviously you give a counter pick to a top laner, they're going to shut you down. You might have wanted to hold counter pick against Blake instead of just gifting him the free Yone into Aatrox matchup.
I'm being told in the DMs that this is a first-time Jarvan. Sure. Okay, man. Okay. I know Silico says that this is a Udyr counter pick. I would tend to disagree. He did beat me on it once, so credit to him for that. But I was also building Rod of Ages Udyr, so I don't know how much merit you should give that.
Yep. My base take, then I'm gonna add to this real quick, is that Jarvan requires 0 fucking skill. It doesn't matter if you're first timing the champion. He is actually 0 brain cells. And Jacob just walks up, gets first blooded by the Caitlyn. Bot lane is over. Twitch will be able to try and roam and get something set up, but the rule of thumb for Caitlyn is don't give her a kill pre-6, and you've done the absolute worst case scenario. You've given her a kill at 55 seconds. Not only does she have the extra longsword going into lane, she's able to base immediately on that gold and not even lose anything off of the lane.
He does have the fleet, so he does get out of these Aatrox queues. I will say, I may or may not have DM'd Mike and told them to play AD Udyr instead of AP. So, match fixing TM. Because AD Udyr is a lot worse than the AP right now. But I don't think it really matters. This champion is just way too strong. Hits the double Phoenix proc here, so we'll see how they play it. He's just walking at this.
Hidiri is dropping so low. Although I believe Mike is probably just caught out here. I don't think he necessarily has an escape. He's trying to 1v4 at level 1.
That's kind of based.
So bot lane may be over, but the jungle here is kind of screwed. Jacob's still in a really bad spot here. Just getting poked out by the Caitlyn. Falls down to what? Hold on.
Mike's still fighting well.
This could be literal 0. Like, actual 1 HP. 3.
3 HP.
Yeah, this is when I unplug my keyboard and throw a brick at the wall. Like,
true. Alt F4. DM. It's over, man. We tried. Good hustle.
Blake's in a bad spot here. Silico does go top lane instead of choosing to help out the bot lane, which allows him to pick up a kill. The Twitch was probably going to itemize into a Dark Seal here with that 300 gold from the kill. I'm assuming he was able to pick up enough off the support item to get him there. Taxi is losing this lane early. Swain's probably going to have some early pressure to be able to assert there, but Blake simply just burns the TP and isn't going to lose too much off this lane. The Aatrox didn't immediately get a lead off of it because the kill went over to Silico.
Yep. And it looks like both junglers are just going to do the boring old full clear, snore, yawn. Although J4 is probably doing like a 3-camp quadrant into a potential topside gank. That's where he's like set up his cards here. Just like there's a lot of early gank pressure from the Jarvan. You have a couple decent lanes to set up with too. Like Aatrox is pretty decent at facilitating ganks if you hit the infernal chains. So is Swain when you hit the E. Looks like they're just taking the back. I will say it is a glacial TF. I am pretty surprised by this. I think it's not bad. You hit the gold card, you get the slow field. It is pretty solid. Me personally, I've been playing a decent amount of Twisted Fate recently. I do like the spellbook setup. There is also like the Comet setup where you want to look for like lane poke, but a lot of these options are.
Oh, Silico gets snared, drops down low. Caitlyn hits a full combo, and Silico's just gonna die. So not only have you given Caitlyn 1 kill before 6, you've given Caitlyn 2 kills before 6. This champion is going to cause some problems. Blake goes in, but ultimately isn't gonna be able to get anything. Hidiri's able to pull Taxi into tower, takes 2 tower shots, and it's just over for him. Honestly, wouldn't have been too bad of a play from Taxi, except just the tower shot timing is terrible.
Good fight from Mike.
Yeah, no one attempts to steal it, but he might just lose to Mike here. Udyr's sustained damage is so much greater than Jarvan's. And this Swain and Jarvan are both super low. Silico goes top again. It looks like they really just want to stop Blake from being able to do anything this game. Except Yone has a lot of inbuilt sustain, so it's really hard to punish it accurately. Jacob gets hit by the flash, or gets hit by it anyway, despite the flash. Taxi should be able to attempt to pick up the kill, but it looks like he's not able to do it. But Caitlyn has 3 kills at 4 minutes. You cannot do this to a Caitlyn.
Yeah, I will say, I think what I was talking about earlier was kind of shown in like
Blake. Clean solo kill. Silico attempts to come top again, but it's just going to get run down by Mike.
The Udyr, baby. I don't know. This is why I say like the Jarvan really isn't the greatest counter pick. Like if you miss, you can easily dodge the combo as like Udyr, and then you just press double Q, and then they die like immediately. It's not even close.
Yeah, I mean, so I think like most of the Jarvan gameplay comes at 6 and for team fights, but early in the game, obviously, Udyr's still going to be able to do his thing because you don't have Cataclysm.
Yeah, and it's like a really easy combo to dodge. I will say, this game is a little closer than last game. Hidiri is kind of picking it up. Silico does get the stealth onto the Lux, has to burn Flash to try to get out.
Yeah, but I do think I was right to look at Silico. Silico is affecting the map more than he did in the previous game. Getting some stuff done, trying to harass Blake, but honestly, Blake is still very much in this game. Silico has not completely eliminated him, and now there is a play coming down mid. Hidiri drops down to about half. Taxi's in a bad position, but he just levels up to get 6, which his extra health is huge. Mike goes down, might be able to pick this up, and the TF ulti comes down. Hidiri has no escape. Does drop down low. But Taxi should be able to just survive here. Mike is likely going to fall. Tries to go for the 2-for-1 for Silico, but it's just going to fall, leaving it at a straight 1-for-1. Taking out Hidiri's life for his own. This is a 2,000 gold lead at 6 minutes, though, and most of this gold is in the pocket of Caitlyn. Look at the bot lane CS. It is 40-12.
I think he has like 3 plates too, so or it's like a decent amount of plates. I don't know. Can you check real quick? Just slide the camera on down.
Okay, it is a 1,700 gold lead. He has 400 gold more than double Jacob CS. He has taken half the tower.
Yeah, that's 3 plays onto your Caitlyn, who you want all the kills on. Mike, Nov does miss the combo and is just getting ripped apart by this Udyr. The damage is just kind of gross.
Good dodge from Mike there.
He is here.
Blake has arrived in the mid lane. Taxi is just trying to keep Hidiri off of him. Blake ults, and that's an easy kill pickup. Goes over to Mike. Mike drops down low, but it's not going to matter because Hidiri is just zoned off the fight.
Mike is going for
now Mike is a little bit greedy. Silico shows up, a huge binding from PB. Showing a bit of diversity. Renata and Lux picked up, and Silico's able to just walk up and picks up a kill on Taxi.
Yeah,
Silico affecting the map in a huge way this game.
Good blind Q though. They do have the Bandle Glass Mirror, so this might be like a mandate Lux. I think it's not bad. It still has a decent amount of AP, and it like gives you the mark damage, so your carries can do like a little more damage, but
yeah,
not the standard AP Lux build.
So weird though. Like Honan has just spent the last minute in mid lane. Blake roamed down to mid lane just earlier. So a lot of people all around the map, and Taxi picking up a huge amount of CS on this Twisted Fate.
Yep. They are going for like the Lost Chapter setup. I talked to them extensively about this after the game. I do tend to agree that the Everfrost does have its spots. I do, in my opinion, I do think the Rod of Ages is a better item, but they argue that the Everfrost is better for like utility and stuff with like the extra stun, which is a fair point. And then if you wanted to go like a more damage-centric build, you should go the Ludens, which is also fair.
I think in this game specifically, Everfrost has its advantages because if you look at Twitch and Swain, both of those champions have ults that last for a certain duration. And if you're able to evade those ultis for a certain amount of time, then you're absolutely golden. I don't really know what this team does to you. Aatrox gets lumped in that category as well with the World Ender. So as long as you're able to throw Everfrost onto one of those champions, you're just completely fine.
You can hit like the
Silico going in. Taxi falls down low, gets the full poison, throws the gold card, and Mike is here to follow it up. Has the empowered ability available, doesn't need to, or does burn it to kill Silico, and is going to die to Noam in return.
Yep. Yeah. Blake is like doing pretty well in this matchup though. Has like a fairly sizable CS lead and a kill lead, so getting a lot done here. And like Jacob is just like perma under his tower. Can never play the game because of how the level 1 went. Kind of pain. Like going for the long trade here. Misses the ulti, so this just means it's the end of the trade.
Honan Flash is trying to look for something. Hits the Infernal Chains, is not able to get anything. The Twisted Fate ulti does pop out, is going to look to kill Honan on the top side. Lands directly on Jarvan though, so this could be kind of scuffed. Is able to hit the stun. Mike is here to finish it off. Honan does not escape from the Udyr, and they might end up going for a dive. Taxi's able to hit a stun. Mike drops down super low. Might die. Is able to survive. I think Triumph was able to heal him there.
Triumph heals him. The tower, he gets out in time for the tower shot because it goes. Well played. Good on Blake to cancel the back and just follow up his team. Really like that from them.
Alex was trying to get tower there, was not necessarily able to get anything done. The CS lead is not as severe as it was before, but Alex is showing complete dominance on this lane. A huge part of that is because Silico just hasn't been present. Looks like they're kind of sacking. I think if you are going to sack, you might want a champion other than Sivir to do it with. Sivir is a bit gold dependent. Once hit that 3-item power spike, but now the level 5 Twitch is going to try and 1v1 the level 9 Yone. But
does get it though,
the AP Twitch has a lot of E damage. It's kind of tough to know when you need to pull back.
Yeah. They do get the full bot lane. They did get the full tower with plates. Now that's kind of a lot of gold on your Caitlyn. They have the Kraken Slayer. They have the Berserker Greaves. They have the first one with a completed item. So they are the strongest member on the map, and they are sending the Caitlyn top lane to try to grab this Herald. I like the rotation from this from the side of Nutbusters. They are rotating super cleanly, and he just
Alex is able to pick up one. PB's ult gets a lot done there. Unfortunately for the Nutbusters, Mike is going to fall there, but that is another kill over for the Caitlyn. Caitlyn could look for more, does have the ace in the hole, but is not able to get vision on either of these champions to force anything. Something cool to think about is the Twisted Fate and Caitlyn ult synergy. If someone drops down low and is able to evade the vision, Taxi is able to just pop his ultimate and grant true sight of all the members of the Metabusters, which could allow Alex to hit an ultimate.
I will say it also does counter Twitch. Like, I didn't mention this at all in draft, but like when you have a TF on the enemy team as Twitch, he can just press R and then your flank is just fucked. Like if the TF has the sense to know when to press R or when the Twitch is going to try to flank, just pressing the R and it's just wraps for your setup. So I really do like this pick a lot from the side of New York Nutbusters into the Twitch. It's just counters a lot and has more use than the Swain in terms of map presence. It finishes Everfrost and has the stopwatch, so able to buy a lot of time. Silica is looking for this TF.
Yep, I believe neither the Twitch or the Yone were spotted there. The Yone is going to have a bit more map impact unless the Twitch is able to just delete him, but Yone is able to pick up one. Unfortunately, Taxi is going to fall for the Nutbusters. Mike is trying to get something done here, but the cage from Gnome is huge, and PB is able to force the flash out with the Lux ultimate. So it's actually a 3-for-1 for the Metabusters, which is pretty good. Unfortunately, you're still down about 5,500 gold and a dragon. So it's a pretty rough spot for you.
Another Black Cleaver rush from the Udyr. This is like a really solid 80 item rush right now. It's a lot better than Chainsword. Any Vibe players out there, stop building Chainsword first. Black Cleaver is better. It gives more HP, gives more AD, is about the same price. Please stop building Chainsword first. It is not that good. I promise.
Yeah, the thing I want to look at right here is this is 6,500 gold to 3,000. Alex is so far ahead. They're up 5,000 gold, and 3.5 of it is in a single champion. This Caitlyn may very well take over this game, especially with PB, a very skilled player on the Lux to support it. Silica is walking around a control ward, so is relatively spotted. PB's binding does miss, so not able to pick up something super easy. Mike just going into 2. Drops down pretty low. Gnome looks for the engage, but Alex does so much damage. Silica's able to pick up 1 kill, 2 kills picked up in total, and Taxi's here to finish it off, and that's another kill over to Alex. Alex has the ace in the hole available, and the Twisted Fate synergy comes true, but it's not able to actually pick up the kill. Simmer blows the spell shield way early, only blocks the wild cards instead of the W. Alex looks for a kill, almost hits Silico, and might just try and auto-trade Jacob down here. Silico's over the wall, not able to get anything done. Honing comes in with the World Ender popped, but the movement speed just isn't going to be enough, especially with a gold card to kite him out. Actually, Taxi did not realize that he shouldn't walk up to go for the gold card because he is just going to die.
That's a common TF fate, though. I feel that every time in my soul. You always want to go back for it. The side of New York Nutbusters is back in time for this dragon. The Udyr should just be able to get on top of them. Silico, but he just does not.
Silico is so strong right here. Blake is looking for something, really wants to take out Silico here if he can find him. Blake actually does hop out of the Cataclysm. Normally, the Yone E is a bit of a bait. It turns out to be this the same thing in this case, but I appreciate the attempt to try and stall out the Cataclysm and then come back to escape, but ultimately it doesn't pay off for him.
Yep, and Caitlyn is on the Kraken Slayer BF Sword pickaxe. They're just looking to grab IE. They're going to look to do lots of damage. Silico drops pretty low. Don't know if they can actually kill Taxi here, though.
PB here could have a lot of damage. Unfortunately, misses the binding and isn't able to pick anything up. Didn't have the ultimate available either, so it could have been a bit of bait. Hideri with a double root actually gets a lot done, and Silico is able to escape on pretty low health. This tower is down, but the Jarvan's there to kind of back him up, and it feels like the Nutbusters kind of sense that out and don't go for a play on the bot lane and instead turn for the dragon. It looks like they did a pretty intelligent dragon bait, attacked the control ward at the same time as the dragon, and then dropped aggro on both to see if they could bait the Meta Busters into coming in. Didn't fully work though, so we are not going to see a play on the backside of it. Noam does drop down another control ward to try and secure vision around the objective.
I will say this is also a stride breaker Aatrox. I remember this was kind of okay at some point. I don't know if it's still good now. I remember like there's been like a lot of different Aatrox builds. There's like the Eclipse, there's like the Board Drinker. I'm not sure what it is nowadays. There was the Hydro Rush. I don't think that's good anymore.
Eclipse, I think, is decent. I don't know for sure though, because it did just get changed. Yep.
Yeah.
And Alex just removes Horton from the game. Doesn't matter what you're building, if you get one shot by a Caitlyn, 7-0-3. Strongest member on his team by far. Silico's doing pretty well on the other side, but Blake's falling down low. Silico's gunning down, is able to pick up a kill. Mike goes down to the backside, one kill picked up. Almost picks up another one. This is another kill picked up for Alex. Hidiri falls quite low, and Hidiri is just going to get shot down by the Caitlyn. They have no vision on Jacob, so no ace in the hole is going to come out, but this should be a really easy dragon picked up for the New York Nutbusters. A 4-for-2, both junglers dead, and Caitlyn probably has the highest dragon secure in the game right now.
Also, it's just like they're on this base. They're gonna have IE and Zeal components. They're so fucking strong. It's kind of gross. They're just machine gunning down the enemy team. I think PV also hit like a really clutch Lux E, revealing the Twitch as they were stealthing, and I really like that. But yeah, you can see the power of the Caitlyn here, just absolutely gunning down these guys. Mike also had a really decent flank on the Udyr, able to get on top of the Twitch and just rail on him with the double Q. Gun down in the streets like the degenerates they are or something. True.
So true.
It's still like pretty back and forth though. Meta Busters are fighting tooth and nail for this game. They are like, it's kind of close. Silico is getting a lot done on the side of Meta Busters, able to like pick up a lot of gold on these roams, and is like kind of keeping them in the game a little bit, is most of their DPS. Jacob is still on components for their first item, which is never what you want to see on your ADC, but you have the Twitch as backup, so I don't think it's too bad.
And Mike's in a really bad spot here. Drops down low. The Lux ulti comes out, but is not able to save Mike. There could be a re-engage coming out here. A couple ultis were burned, both the World Ender and the Demonic Ascension. Yeah, I got it. Let's go. From Swain, both of those are going to time out, so there could be a good angle for a re-engage here now. It really doesn't matter if you lose a member of your team as the Nutbusters, as long as the Caitlyn's alive. She's as strong as basically any two champions on the enemy team besides the Twitch. It's really just Alex and Silico one step above everyone else in the game. And then the rest of the 8 champions on the Rift are kind of competing.
For third place, yeah?
Yeah.
Looks like they're just fishing for vision on this Baron, trying to like, or Herald, trying to contest, but I think Meta Busters has like the inside track into this Herald, so it's kind of hard for them to do. I will say, I don't think we've talked about it at all. Hidiri has been playing pretty well this game compared to last game. Has matched up pretty decently into the Twisted Fate. Has like had like almost the same amount of map impact and is like outputting considerably more DPS. So I do like to see that Hidiri picking up a little bit, picking up the slack from these games. So improvement TM. Also, Caitlyn is on the IE, the Berserker Greaves, the Longsword. She's just so strong, man. It's so gross, bro. Silico, or not Silico, Noam is also still on his jungle pet, not completed. This is like, hurts my soul a little bit. I understand Jarvan's not as strong as a farmer as Udyr, but you still want to like be farming enough to have your jungle camp by 20 minutes done IMO. A little bit
that's
of a
when Baron's up, and usually third Draco's up around that time as well. So having the 1200 smite for this important objective is huge. Alex does fall down quite low. Silico does flash to dodge the binding, and Alex falls quite low. He might die to the poison. Silico drops down low, and Blake is looking for the finish, and Silico is able to pick up the kill. The TF port comes down and picks up Silico on the backside of the fight. PB does drop low, and the roots are coming out. Honan and Jacob are both rooted here, and we do have Taxi on the back of the fight, tries to pick up something onto Hidiri, but Hidiri's able able to pick up the E and forces Taxi's flash out for him to survive. This is the two strongest people in the game taken down, which I honestly think favors the Metabusters, because the Caitlyn is much stronger than the Twitch. 1,000 gold shutdown going onto their strongest member as well. This Twitch could have the ability to carry this game. That W applies poison to a lot of people, and those strong E's are going to come out. I do wish that I'd seen the Darkseal or the Medjais come out for the Twitch at this point. I can give a lot of free AD or AP, especially if you are playing as well as Silico is here.
Yep. Also has the Crown of the Shattered Queen, I think, the Mythic. I think this is just really good into their team. It's like, because like you can guarantee not getting it procced for free on the Lux if you position correctly. So like if you can like get the crown proc on like most of TF's bursts, which is in their pick a card gold card.
Yep.
And
like
Alex
almost gets caught out again here. Silico burns the spray and pray, but actually Honan is going to be the only one dying at this point.
Yeah,
never mind. Silico's able to pick up another kill onto Alex. It's so
here.
much. Yeah, I just spoke too soon. The Twitch poison damage with the full AP build is just way too strong.
Yeah. I will point out as well. Hold on. Jacob does have second highest CS in the game after being denied so much CS early game. Alex has kind of stopped farming, which has been a bit of a detriment. His build is slowing down a little bit. Is looking for like the Bloodthirster setup, I believe, with like the Vamp Scepter as well.
Yep. There could be a play here though. Jacob does burn ulti. The Twisted Fate all comes down. I think Silico's just gotten out of bad position. He gets stunned for the entire duration of the Crown of the Shattered Queen. Isn't able to pick up anything. It looks like the only reason Metabusters mid game was being saved here is because Silico's able to find these picks reliably. But if he's going to get caught out like that, they don't have much of a play here.
Yeah.
Silico is carrying basically this entire team on his back right now. Swain and Aatrox can kind of support him if he's able to initiate the fight well, but getting picked off is not the way to do that. This is the third dragon for 0 picked up by the New York Nutbusters.
Yeah. I will have to give a little bit of credit to the TF here. I think they're finally figuring out that they need to open on the ultimate. They need to start scouting out the Twitch with the ulti. Try to pick him off before the fights start. So I do like this, like, a little more proactive setup from the side of
Mike uses the Stride, or the Stridebreaker comes after the Aatrox to try and slow down Mike. Isn't enough. Hidiri and Aatrox are lined up perfectly, and the Lux ultimate is able to find both of them. Yone and Udyr each picking up a kill. A turret was traded on the top side, destroying the New York Nutbusters' top turret.
Here.
Yeah, this should just be a free pickup, except Silico might be able to get a lot of work done. Has no flash, but walks over to control ward. Blake goes down to try and... But no one steals a Baron! And he's just instantly going to die, but that is Baron buff onto the strongest member of the Metabusters and Jacob.
Good steal from Jarvan. Noam. Does miss the EQ combo over the wall, but kind of base, flash into the pit and the smite. Oh, chef's kiss. So good, man.
Okay,
Mike,
that one, Noam, that one can be excused by first time Jarvan. That's okay.
True. Still base though.
Yes.
I flashed to get closer. You know you can just like walk up and then EQ over the pit. No? You did get CC'd, but...
To continue what you were shouting out earlier, Jacob has his highest CS in the game. Doing a good job of farming this game. I believe his gold is no longer being doubled. He's still down about 3,000. But he's doing a good job of staying in the game. Somehow Udyr, who's died 9 times, is almost even with gold on the Caitlyn. So, you know, go figure. Makes sense somewhere.
To do that.
I mean, there could be a fight breaking out here. The TF and the Udyr would need to show up. But Silico's looking for something here. We can turn the camera to focus on him, but he does reveal himself by attacking this ward, so he needs to wait for the Q cooldown to come back up in order to get anything done.
TF does have the ulti as well, so they can scout out the Twitch location. If they could get like a sense of the Twitch is trying to flank, or the enemy team's plays too obvious into the Twitch flank, I think there's like a lot of options to look for picks on the Twitch as well. The Shadow Flame does come out for the Twitch. This is a lot of AP. I think most Twitches prefer the Death Cap just for the raw AP because you don't really scale well with the Magic Pen from Twitch.
Yeah, because
But I
most of your
think
damage from the Twitch is
base
going to be
check.
true damage. Gnome's able to get out in time, but is dropping down low from
Mike
some
is
dot.
looking
I
here.
honestly don't know what.
It's
Hidiri's
the Udyr
ulti
lighting.
is just burned out, though, so that's a pretty rough spot for them.
Kalen using Ace in the hole to burn the crown is pretty smart. It was the Udyr dot, by the way.
Gotcha.
The double Q.
Oh, it
And
was red
on
buff
his
is what I was
picture.
thinking as well.
Yeah, it was both, I think. Not sure. Oh well. Doesn't really matter.
Agreed. Yeah, good call out on the Caitlyn ulti. Does proc
Yeah.
the Silico shield. But unfortunately, they don't have anything to deal with Silico
Here.
anymore. Alex and PB are both snared. It's going to get
Snared.
rooted, and Mike is just going to light him up. And if
Yep.
he just gets popped like that, there's nothing that he can
Yeah.
really do.
And you did see like how the TF ulti revealing the Twitch does help you out a lot. You were able to use the Caitlyn ult to break the crown, and then Silico kind of misplaying here, not waiting for his crown to come back up. He goes into the Lux, who has the hourglass, and then the Lux just hits
Jacob
the hourglass,
steals the blue buff away.
kind
Pretty
of
huge there.
face, and then gets ripped apart by the Caitlyn. So just really well played from the side of New York Nutbusters to keep shutting down the Twitch IMO.
Yep. They just realized that Silico is the win condition for this team. They need to play around it. But the gold lead has gotten to less than 3,000 apart. But it looks
I
like...
think it's been within 2,000 the entire game. No, am I?
no, it was like 5,000 earlier. Pretty
Okay,
sure.
okay. It's been. I still think it's like been pretty close, even if it's 5K. Like
Definitely closer than the previous game.
Yeah.
But it looks like the Nutbusters have definitely shifted their focus from getting these early farm leads, considering they are not up in farm in the two lanes that were doing really well earlier, and instead focusing on the 4-0 soul that could be coming up in as soon as 30 seconds. PB looks for a snare, isn't able to hit anything though.
Nope. They just want to look for. They want to be first on these souls. They have a Caitlyn, they have the Lux. They want to set up vision early and like try to get these traps down so that it's really hard for the side of Metabusters to walk in. They do have like the options for like TF flanks as well. So like the collapse potential on Metabusters is kind of immense. A lot of pick potential, but they do really want to be first on these objectives. Looks like Udyr is starting to path into the Dragon Pit as well. We'll have to see how they play this fight.
Yep, Udyr's going for a death stance, which I'm not sure is necessarily moving to this much AP. Hidiri gets chunked out low. His ulti is not going to be able to last long too much in a fight.
Here, ulti coming out. The Twitch is revealed as well.
Yeah, the crown is still up though, which is pretty huge. Jacob does get chunked by the E before he's able to spell shield, drop him down pretty low. The Caitlyn does have 3 items at this point, as well as the Twitch. No one else has that in the game.
They've seen him flash over the wall. They're still positioning for this fight super hard. Twitch does have another reroute angle here. Might look for the flank behind them. I think their spidey senses are tingling on this Twitch play though. This is why they're stalling out this fight super well. They don't want to full commit into.
Yep, Taxi actually does get caught here. Jacob's able to hit the spell shield, and TF just drops low, gets pulled back in. Except Blake's able to pick up 2 on the back line. This is a 3-for-1 in exchange for the Twisted Fate, who's really just a supportive champion here. Honing goes in, is able to pick up the Caitlyn. Gnome goes in though. This is a triple kill for Blake. PB drops down low. I don't think Gnome's going to be able to get anything here. The Jarvan just doesn't have that much after his initial burst is burned, and Blake gets a quadra kill on the Yone.
They do also get the Ocean Soul. This is super valuable for them.
Yeah, huge shout out to Blake there.
Yeah, Blake managing to hit the 4-man ulti as Gnome is engaging onto his backline. They almost have a really good setup there if you want to rewind a little bit. I kind of want to rewind and watch this fight a little bit. I think
I am just worried about podcast timing.
That's fair. That's fair. But it's like the EQ into like the Twitch spray and pray is like really good. But Noam hits the fucking Jarvan, or not the Jarvan, the fucking Spirits Unleashed ultimate into 4 of the Metabusters and just rips, or 3 of the Metabusters and just rips them apart with all his damage. Really well played by Blake as well.
Yep. Then once again, Jacob is farming really well here. I think the Metabusters have been farming pretty well, which is a huge reason why this gold lead isn't as drastic as it could be. But I think it is important to remember that the Nutbusters have been dedicating some resources towards these dragons, and they're providing about 7 to 8,000 gold worth of just sheer value. The Meta Busters haven't been able to pick up any dragons throughout this entire game. I've picked up a Herald. Or no, they didn't pick up a Herald, they picked up a Baron, and that's it. So.
Yeah.
Okay, and Honing could be in a bad spot, throws out the Infernal Chains, and Mike is just running him down. TF ulti's here, spots out the Twitch, they know if this play is safe or not, and the Ace in the Hole and the Lux ulti come down, and Alex is able to pick up yet another kill. 9, 3, and 11 right now, is building towards that 4th item. Blake is able to hit 3-item power spike after that fight, and same with Mike and Taxi. The entirety of the Nutbusters are really strong here. The only player
up for
on the other team rivaling them in terms of items are Hidiri and Silico.
Blake should play for zone, honestly. I think it's fine for him to walk back into the pit for a little bit.
Yep. Oh, he catches out too. Silico gets burned. His crown falls down. Gnome tries to trap him, but just doesn't do anything. Silico gets almost deleted by PB's Lux ulti. And now Mike is popping the Ghost, is able to run through the entirety of the Swain W, doesn't even get slowed from it, but I just don't think there's too much of a play left. Honing just came back up, burns the teleport. Mike's falling down quite low, does not end up dropping. Alex is able to pick up another kill, but is going to fall to the Aatrox. Blake just flashes in, is able to pick up something, and I don't think Honing has a chance of living here either. This is a 4-for-1, and the Baron's up. Blake playing so well on the end of this game, and yeah, I think you're right. This might be the end of the game.
Nope. Really well played from the New York Nutbusters, playing super well with their Twisted Fate setups and just slamming the early lead. I like the confidence to pick Caitlyn like this and just hard ego. Jacob fumbling a little bit, getting first blooded by the Caitlyn. That's never something you really want to see from your bot side because it can really fuck over your game. Silco is still here. Yeah. They do break the crown and then eat back, so it's fine. They might just look for a reset to heal up and then look for another fight.
Yeah, and something I want to note is Blake on the top side. Obviously, his early game was kind of stunted by Silica spending so much time up there, but he's kind of been able to break free from the influence of the Twitch, and now he seems to be the highest impact player from his team this game.
On the Twisted Fate gold card. Ooh, but Blake is there and just bop bop.
Yep, but Twisted Fate is gone.
The poison.
The AP Twitch poison is just too much. Yep. Blake should be able to get out with the Blast Cone or the Q, but gets pulled back in by the chains. But his Soul Unbound is still sitting over the wall, so he's just done for.
The Swain does get the pickup.
Oh, PB hits the Lux ulti!
Base. Super good Lux Laser. A little sloppy from New York Nutbusters. I think this is a bit of an overstay, but the Udyr does get the top side.
Honen's going for this, but PB is here. This just might be too much pressure for Honen, but it looks like they're not trying to force anything.
Yep.
Yep, Mike's playing really well around this Baron-empowered cannon minion. And Honen is in a bad spot here. This should be another kill picked up for Alex. Yep, just 3 auto attacks, and that's all you ever needed. He might have actually just killed him with a 90 caliber net there, which would be quite funny.
Kind of based, yeah.
Yeah, we could see the Elder Dragon fight having a huge influence on this game, though. It's up in about a minute 15. All members in the game will be alive, and all of the flashes except for Swain's and Yone's are going to be available for this fight.
I do like the Force of Nature on the side of the Udyr as well. Like, the only real threat is the Twitch, and the Swain, even though Twitch doesn't have a lot of magic damage, I still think it has like a bit of value into the E and stuff, so I think it's fine. Looks like Jarvan is looking for the engage.
Yep. Oh, and Silico is what I'd rather look at. He's actually able to get out here. Mike almost is able to pick up one, but the Taxi ultimate comes in, does cancel the Caitlyn ulti. The timing was correct to completely remove the cooldown from the Caitlyn. Something that we were talking about earlier that we finally get to see here is the Caitlyn was able to set up traps around the map, warding them off of this Elder fight. And they're able to get a quick kill onto the Swain, which should secure the Elder for them when it's up. There's only 15 seconds left, and with no Swain, it's going to be really hard for them to force the fight, especially with this crown down on the Twitch.
Nope, and he does have another Needless looking for the hat. Rabadon's, that's the item name. Deathcap. Whatever. Yeah, but this Elder should just be ripped apart. The Udyr double Q should just take away all this HP.
Yep, no one
And it
looks
should
for
just
his
be a
steal,
really
but
easy
there's
team
no
fight.
shot. And now he's just going to die from the true damage. And Crown,
That's okay, ulti. Yep.
Crown can do something, but Crown actually can't do much into true damage. So Silica's going to be in a tough spot here if he gets hit by literally anything. Mike is just running through here, is able to dodge out on all the skill shots. Taxi hitting a lot from long range, so the Lux Laser getting a lot done. Hidiri falls. Taxi actually does fall as well. Honen's able to pick up a kill onto the Udyr, but Alex is getting so much work done. Silico and Jacob are the last defenders of this team, and Blake is able to kill Jacob, so that means it's just game. PB with the flash Q, and Alex is able to pick the final kill of the game. And this is going to be a quick 2-0 for the Nutbusters. Really well played. Real quick,
Yeah.
I want to say Blake MVP for this game. I'm not going to lie.
I
Alex had a huge start to this game, but Blake finished it off in those team fights.
Yeah, I think Blake was like the linchpin in a lot of their team fighting. Hit a lot of clutch ultis. I think PB also got a lot of picks with the Q. Maybe I'm a little bit on the support grand set type beat. I don't know. I just thought they played super well with their support. So props to PB. I do think it is Blake game too, though.
Yep, hard agree there.
Super well played from the side of New York Nutbusters.
Definitely. All right, we are going to drop stream for about 5 minutes just to get prepared for the podcast, and we will see you back on in 5.
All right.
Peace.